Welcome to the seaside gem of Split, Croatia. Alrighty, fellow travelers, welcome back to Adventures of a Traveling Don, and of course our continued series here in the Balkans. If you guys watched the last episode, we are here in Split, Croatia, and today we're going to be exploring Old Town and kind of like get a nice lay of the land, and of course explore the famous Diocletian's Palace. I am super excited. I love the history about this whole place, and honestly, it is a seaside gem of the Adriatic. I've been here for a couple days now, walking around. It is awesome. So come on and let's explore Split. I suppose if you're going to start anywhere, you should start at the beginning. And of course, if you're going to start and talk history, you should always, of course, have a little nibble, a bite to eat, a little chocolate croissant to start you off. And it's just chocolate on, like little bits of chocolate on top. But that's a really, really good croissant. Of course, have yourself a cup of nice little Americano, a little coffee, just to get you going. It even says, for a beautiful day. Anyway, the history, of course, Split starts basically as the Greek colony of, I think it's Aspalathos. I got that right. That was about 2nd or 3rd century BC. It didn't really, of course, get put on the map, of course, until the Emperor Diocletian, who ruled during the late 3rd century, going into the early 4th century. And after he abdicated his throne to the Roman Empire, he basically retired here to his palace. And the palace was, of course, built from, I think, starting from 295 until somewhere around like 315, 320 AD. And it is a massive structure. It's actually not really a ruin, more as it's half Old Town itself, because people live on and within the walls. They do business within the walls of the old palace, which you'll see in a minute. It's actually rather fascinating. I've been walking around it the last couple of days, and it's just, you get lost in it. It's almost like its own style of, like when we're in Dubrovnik or Kotor, within the old walls. But it's just, yeah, you'll see in a minute. But first off, I'm going to enjoy my croissant and my coffee. No, by the way, I spoke too soon. There actually is chocolate inside. Now that's a good stuff. So one point of interest for you when you're staying here in Split, particularly near Old Town, is just on the east side, outside of the walls of Diocletian's Palace, and that is at this farmer's market here. It's like right down the street from the main sort of like boardwalk, and it's this beautiful little farmer's market. They do it every day, so it's a permanent market, and it's from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Obviously, I'm sure during summertime and during fall time, it's a little bit more, packed. There's going to be more stalls, but even still during the height of winter where I'm here now, there's still quite a few produce stalls. So if you're looking for fresh produce, the farmer's market here, just outside the walls, would be a good choice. So like I said, the Diocletian Palace is a massive complex, and in and of itself is now its own town. It's like half of Old Town within the walls, and there are 4 different gates, one on each side, north, south, east, west. East and west are the 2 bigger gates, so we're gonna go in through the east gate and kind of just check everything out. So the east side of Diocletian's palace is where you kind of really find most of the still intact ruins, whereas everything else is pretty much kind of been incorporated into its own old town, shops, all that stuff. So behind me here is, of course, the cathedral and, of course, the bell tower of St. Dominice. And it's, I think, like a 4th century AD church, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Particularly, you look up at just the artwork on the bell tower, just absolutely amazing. And what's cool is right outside the cathedral on this side, this is the south side, and this is the south gate, and that actually goes down and under and has like a long tunnel. Now in this tunnel down here, this is where they shoot in Game of Thrones the scenes with the dragons, where Daenerys goes down to see the dragons underneath here. So it's kind of cool because you get a little Game of Thrones action within Split as well. Also, as you go through the, I don't know which ones, but as you go through the alleyways, they also shot a lot of the scenes where the Sons of Harpy attack the Unsullied. I forget what season that is, season 5 or something like that. But a lot of those scenes were shot within Split as well, just in the back alleys. It's kind of hard to pinpoint which ones, but even still, this is actually really kind of cool being down here, as you can see. Oh, absolutely fantastic. So this is really cool. This is considered the substructures of Diocletian's palace, and this is kind of like what the ground floor would have been during the time of Diocletian. So people would come through that south gate, and this right here, this massive room I'm in, was kind of like the grand reception hall. So even when he retired, he wasn't fully retired from politics. He just wasn't the reigning emperor anymore, but he would still meet heads of state here, or his, his chamberlain would, whatever the Roman chamberlain was called at the time. But it's just so cool because the substructures go in and out. There's actually 2 parts. So we're on the first part. We'll go over to the second part. It's about €8 for both parts. And it's just, they say it takes about 20, 30 minutes to just kind of explore. But it's still so cool. And the fact that it's so well preserved, the Diocletian Palace is one of the most well preserved, forms of architecture from late antiquity in the world left. It's just, this is phenomenal. So the second part of the Subterranean Diocletian Museum is actually kind of a little bit more cool because it delves into a lot of the archaeological stuff that they found, whereas in the first part was just sort of like the grand hall and the hallways, which was kind of fun to go in and out. This one actually has different rooms that showcase different archaeological stuff, including things that don't come from Diocletian's time, because apparently things like this, like cult altars, they found, I think that one they found like in the northwest quadrant of Diocletian's palace when they were doing archaeological digs, and that predates Diocletian. So there were structures in this area well before Diocletian kind of built his palace. So it is kind of cool, but even still, it still does have a lot of subterranean underground areas as well, which are just so much fun to check out. Like, just look at this. Oh. I'm a history buff and I'm in heaven. So even though Diocletian's palace was built by the Roman emperor back in like the 3rd and 4th century AD, it was built upon and added in a medieval structure. So places like this, the Agobio Palace, was kind of like structured in the 15th century based off of what was already here and changed. So it's kind of cool as you go through it. You know, the ruins that we were at still kind of delve into more of the Roman side. As you start to go into Old Town, it becomes much more medieval, 14th, 15th, 16th century. So it's just kind of really cool. And nowadays, like, it's all used as, you know, a travel agency, hotels. You know, there's a, you know, a nice purse store behind me. So people kind of live within this structure and have taken it up instead of, you know, a lot of places like this would have generally just run into, you know, decay and they're just ruins that you visit. This is actually a city inside a ruin. It's fantastic. Oh, I found the Game of Thrones corner. You have the Game of Thrones shop right over there. And then it looks like they also have a Game of Thrones museum right behind me. That's actually really kind of cool. That's awesome. Talk about a place that really now caters to tourists. I just ran past a Christmas shop and a duck shop. Like all the duckies that you could ever want. Even a Donald Duck. And not the Disney Donald Duck, but the, shall we say, Donald Trump Donald Duck. Oh my goodness, it's fascinating. All right, so we have just come around to outside the western gate of Diocletian's palace, and this is where this side of Old Town, outside of the palace walls, becomes more of truly the medieval part. So you kind of like get into what is considered the People's Plaza. And you have, I think this was like a 15th century palace that's now a museum. You have a bunch of different historical landmarks and buildings, which are just kind of absolutely cool. We're actually going to stop here because there's actually, I finally found some restaurants that were open because I am getting hungry. I've only had a croissant and coffee, but this People's Plaza is really kind of nice. And this is where it transitions again from the Roman Diocletian Palace into more of the medieval Old Town. All right, so we're stopping at a place called Beppa, and this place looks really cool. Even like the outside is really nice, but this inside room is aesthetically very pleasing. However, and I've been running into this problem in a lot of places, is at least during the winter time right now, they all sell drinks, they don't sell food. So this place doesn't sell food, at least right now when I'm here. Their kitchen is closed. I don't know if that's every day during the winter or if it's just specifically I'm a little too early, because right now it's about 11 a.m. They might not open up their food until later in the afternoon, if not the evening, so I'm not entirely sure. However, I am going to stick around for a quick drink, and I got myself a lemonade, and he asked me hot or cold. I was like, I've never had a hot lemonade, so I'm having a hot lemonade, and it's got like a garnish of star anise in it. I've never seen that before, so you can definitely smell the anise. That smells really good. That's nice. Ooh, that made me all warm too. That is really nice. Hot lemonade, sugar-free, with a little star anise, just to kind of like, wow, that's actually not bad. So I'm gonna finish this. Very enjoyable. And then go find some goddamn food. So on our hunt for some lunch at this point in time, one place of note to stop at is here in what is called the Procurative, or the Republic Square of Split. I think there's one in Zagreb. Most of the major cities in Croatia have some form of Republic Square. It actually kind of reminds me of like a smaller version of, you know, the major squares in like Madrid and whatnot. But it's actually kind of cool. And this is actually one of the newer areas too, because this was built between 1863 to 1928, different sections at different times. But it's absolutely fantastic. I think during like this, during the seasons, like the spring, summer, and fall, a lot of these I can see like have different restaurants, so you can actually come and eat here, watch the square, kind of like a traditional public square. And during the winter time, at least during the holidays, it looks like they do have, of course, an ice rink. I think there's also a music festival that happens here, but it is actually really kind of cool. It's a, you know, great architecture. Again, I'm here at the wrong time to really make any use of it because it's after the holidays, so the ice rink's not working, and it's off season, so there's no restaurants. So anyway, our search for food continues, but it is a great square. So it is lunchtime, and we come to a place called Basta Bar. This was actually in the last video. We stopped here for a beer. It's become kind of a bit of an old reliable for me because it's always open for food and drink during both lunch and dinner. So that's perfect. Every place else is like, oh no, we just have drinks right now. It's like, I want food. So, but anyway, they do Naples-style pizza, so Neapolitan. I am very excited. Got myself one with actually a yellow tomato sauce with buffalo cheese and bresaola, which is kind of like a aged salt dried beef with a little bit of yellow cherry tomatoes as well. So, cheers to you guys. Oh, that's so good. Buffalo cheese, that buffalo mozzarella, and actually that salted beef adds like a nice flavor to that. It's not as salty as, say, kind of like prosciutto or ham would be, but that's actually really nice. Excuse me while I pig out. Side of Split and up into the western hills. We're at the very beginning of what is called the Marjan, and this is sort of like the forest park. And from here, just at the first kind of like viewpoint, you get the entire bay, as well as, of course, downtown Split. And it's just absolutely fantastic. You can even see the mountains in the background, the other islands that kind of make up this sort of like bay that around Split that separates it from the rest of the Adriatic. It's absolutely phenomenal. And what's kind of cool is there is a history of this park with a lot of particularly Christian history, because there's a lot of hermitages and small chapels up here. So we'll kind of walk by and see a few of them on the way. And we're going to go to the west side and then kind of circle back around. But I mean, just even if you come up here to this first viewpoint, well worth it for the picture of Split. So the first church along the trail is actually the very first church that was built up here, and that is the Church of St. Nicholas. And that was, I believe, built in 1219, so quite a long time ago, almost, what, 800 years, a little, actually over 800 years ago. I think the small little bell tower on the side was built centuries later, but this particular stone church was built back in the early 13th century. And it's, you know, it's closed right now. I think during December 6th, which is known as St. Nicholas's feast day, they do open it up and they do have a mass up here even to this day. So that would be kind of cool to come up here when people come up, maybe lighting candles, and come up here for a mass on this hill. That must be pretty awesome. But anyway, yeah, this is the first of several of the old stone churches up here. right, so I have officially made it to the top of Split. This is Telegrin Peak here at the top of Telegrin Mountain. And of course, you got like the big Croatia flag in the background. There's this massive cross here. And then you just have views from the entire area. You have to think Split is a little bit of kind of like a peninsula because it like juts out, and you have the mainland over on this side. You have, of course, the islands and the Adriatic on that side, and even going further north along the coast as well. So it's kind of a nice spot. You know, some trees do dot around here which blocks certain views, but you got a lot of like small little pockets where you can kind of get nice pictures of from here at the top of Telegrin Peak. But yeah, so this is the top, and I believe this is the highest area within the city of Split itself. And it's just absolutely fantastic. I mean, just the views from here are amazing. Definitely recommend taking the hike. It's not too strenuous. It's pretty much a set of stairs that come all the way up. It's probably actually, if you went from Old Town and straight all the way up here, it's probably about 40 minutes or so. Not too bad, but yeah, absolutely gorgeous views from up here. I will say the multitude of these forest paths through the Marjan are just fantastic. You know, throughout all my series and pretty much most of my videos, you guys will see me, unless they're just pure food tours, you guys will see me going out and trying to find places in nature, even within inside the cities themselves, to kind of get away. This is why, and places like this, you know, exemplify why I do it, because it's just absolutely fantastic. And as beautiful as the city of Split is, it's when you really get out into areas like this that are nearby, within walking distance, that you can have a moment of tranquility, peace, except for the moment just before I started filming this little bit. Some guy on a mountain bike rode right behind me as fast as like a bat out of hell, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Almost ran me over, because as you can see, this trail is not very big. But anyway, outside of almost getting killed by a bike, being out here is just, it's fantastic. I love nature, and can't really beat that view, can you? Absolutely fantastic. All right, so we've come to the most western point that we're going to go to the Marjan. There is still quite a bit of ways to go that you can go all the way to the end of the Cape. However, I'm running out of daylight. I still need to get back, and there's still a couple other things I want to see back down in Split. But I will say, this is absolutely fantastic. This church behind me is the Church of Lady of Bethlehem. And it's another one of those old stone churches. This one is a little bit older. I think it dates back to the 1500s. They didn't have a specific date like they did with the last one. And it was actually, I think it was either bombed out or something like that happened to it, where it fell into disrepair, and it was reconstructed in the 1920s. But what's actually kind of cool about it is the cliff face that it hugs against. There's a couple different like caves, and throughout this whole area there are some kind of like small little caves dug into the rock, which are really kind of cool. And right above me, if you guys can see it, I don't know if I'm at the, like right through there, that is an observation deck. That's a modern observation deck where you can get probably some of the best views of this area of Split. It is temporarily closed right now during the winter time. Like I said, I'm here in January. However, when you guys come here during the summertime, it's supposed to be one of the best places to get views. I mean, even from here, you get some fantastic views of the bay. But definitely check that place out when you can. But anyway, this is about as far west as we're going to go, since we're starting to lose the light. And I want to get back into Split before the sun goes down, because there's a couple other places I want to show you guys before the sun goes down. So anyway, on our way back into downtown. spot is basically the opposite end of Old Town and downtown Split. And we're here down in Babić Beach. And it's a little bit kind of a tough way to find it. You have to go, there's a few different ways, but the main way is to go towards the bus station and then continue down towards where basically you kind of run the old train tracks, and eventually you come out here. And it's actually kind of cool because you have the beach in the background, so that's the sandy part of the beach, and then you have, of course, some bars and restaurants, and this whole small little kind of like bay area that they have here. Right now they've got the winds picking up, it's a little cold, so it's not clear, but I was here yesterday. The last couple days really I've come down both days, and when the water is still, you can see down to the bottom. It's not super deep even out in the middle of it, so it's a great place to come during the summertime when it's warm and hot here in Split and just enjoy it. You can either go into the water from that side on the beach, or you can come down here because they have all of these, they have several different pool, basically like pool steps to come back out. So this is kind of like a great place to come, specifically during the summertime when you can really just kind of come out here and enjoy the water on a hot day. Right now it's too damn cold, but it's still a beautiful, beautiful spot. And like I said, when you're here, when the water is a little bit more calm, you can actually see down, and that's how clear the water is. Alrighty guys, so for the last part of this Split tour, we're coming down here to one of the main ferry terminal piers, and you can just come on down here. This one, public can access. The other ones are not as easy because the Port of Authority kind of blocks them off for all of the major ferries that come in and out. I think this is kind of like the third one that they use. So like times like this during the wintertime, I don't think it's being used all that much at all. But it's a great point to come and check out that sunset right there. As it's going down over the Adriatic and the islands in the background. Fantastic. And then of course you get a great view of the entire waterfront of Split, and it's just, yeah, this is a great place to kind of end the day, to come out here and sit out and just watch the sunset, relax. It's a little chilly because I'm there's no cover for the wind out here. It's a little cold right now, but it is definitely worth it. Even like looking at the mountains in the background and stuff, just fantastic. But anyway, this is going to be the end of the Split tour. I'm heading off to my next point in Croatia, Zagreb, in the next video, so stay tuned for that one. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular tour of Split and my arrival in the last video. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and definitely check that out. But I will say this place has been impressive. Split, I think, has jumped a lot of the places that I've been to so far into places I definitely want to come back to. The whole Diocletian Palace, the fact that people have basically built a town into the palace in and of itself is so cool, and I want to come back here during the summertime when it's, you know, it's a bit busier and it's, you know, all the restaurants and bars and stuff are open, so, you know, there's more life to it. This has been fun and this has been nice, but a lot of it's been closed. So, but that's what you do, that's what you get when you travel here in January. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down in the comments below. I'll get to those to the best of my ability as soon as I can. I try and answer pretty much every comment and all questions as I see them. So, but anyway guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next adventure. Peace out and have a great night.